Welcome to Spokane Talks, where you'll find the latest in community news, views, and conversation. Now, join your host to hear what Spokane's talking about.
Welcome to Spokane Talks on Fox 28. Good morning to you. We have three great segments today. The first is the Library Out Loud with Jane Baker, and she's going to be talking about the Writers' Conference coming here to Spokane. Then Matt Kaufler is our new Business Talks host, and he's going to be talking with folks from the Gonzaga University and startups. I think you'll find that really interesting. And then Real Estate Talks with host Ken, and he's going to be talking to Rob Higgins, who's the executive director of the Spokane Association of Realtors. Next.
Here at Creative Music Learning Center, we are dedicated to your learning no matter where you are on your journey. Whether you are a beginner, a casual player, or need some brushing up on technique, we are here for you. When you begin lessons with us, our teachers take the time to understand what kind of learner you are and how we can help you further your knowledge, offering a variety of instruments including piano, guitar, voice, violin, and more. We are here and ready to get started with you.
Here at River Ridge Hardware Garden Center, where we have all the plants and flowers that will spruce up your yard, from the lilacs for Spokane's Lilac City to awesome hanging baskets and pots that you can actually put the hanging baskets in. Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you set up your landscape needs. Neighbors helping neighbors at River Ridge Hardware.
Hello and welcome to Library Out Loud. I'm Jane Baker with the Spokane County Library District. This is Gwendoyln Haley, also with the district, one of our librarians and public service managers. Thanks for being with me today.
Oh, so glad to be here. Thanks.
We're here to talk about the 5th Annual Spokane Writers Conference that is coming up Saturday and Sunday, October 25th and 26th at the North Spokane Library. This is the 5th year of the conference.
Yes.
And it started with humble beginnings.
It really did. My colleague and I were talking about how can we support people who are interested in doing NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, which is the challenge to write a 50,000-word original novel in 1 month.
In 1 month.
Yeah. And so we said, well, that'd be kind of an interesting thing. So we tried that, and we worked with, we have wonderful local writers here in Spokane, are very generous with their time and their talent. And so we did a one-day conference with multiple workshops, and it was hugely successful. We were so surprised that the next year we made it 2 days. And then the year after that, we had outgrown the space. So we moved it to the North Spokane Library, where we could actually have 2 simultaneous sessions, which was really exciting. And that was a one-day conference. And then last year it was a 2-day conference with 2 simultaneous sessions throughout the day. And this year we're adding something new. And that's a track of smaller sessions that are small group sessions for like maybe 6 to 8 people. So you can kind of be a little more intimate and take a little bit deeper dive in the topic.
So we have big sessions, and then we have some smaller sessions and all kinds of things going on at the same time. Let's quickly talk about a couple of the main sessions. We have Asa Maria Bradley. She is a local author, kind of a big deal. And she'll be talking about getting deeper emotions into some of your drafts of writing. I want to back up just a minute and say the Writers' Conference is for everyone.
It is for everyone.
You don't need to be a professional writer.
No.
It can be your hobby. You can maybe have thought about writing. Maybe you haven't thought about writing, just want to come in and see if it is something for you. So it is for everybody.
It's for everyone.
Yeah. And 2 days and no charge. So she's going to be there, and she's going to be talking about the deeper emotions and the actual writing part. But we also have some business things too.
Yeah, that's right. So we're really excited because we think about writing so much as being a creative art, but it's also a business. And so we've got a couple of our writers are going to be sharing about writing query letters, how to find someone to publish your writing, whether it's a literary journal or a magazine or a publisher, if you're looking for an agent. So I think that's for people who are thinking, gosh, could I make a living at this or supplement my income? Or they have something ready. They just need to find a place, someone to publish it.
And this workshop will help with all of that.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk more about the workshop. We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back on Library Out Loud.
Here at Creative Music Learning Center, we are dedicated to your learning no matter where you are on your journey. Whether you are a beginner, a casual player, or need some brushing up on technique, we are here for you. When you begin lessons with us, our teachers take the time to understand what kind of learner you are and how we can help you further your knowledge, offering a variety of instruments including piano, guitar, voice, violin, and more. We are here and ready to get started with you.
And welcome back to Library Out Loud. We're talking about the 5th Annual Writers Conference coming up at the North Spokane Library in October 25th and 26th. And it is free of charge, and all you have to do is register to attend, and you can register at the library's website, scld.org, and just sign up, get registered, and come. Yeah. So this is great. So we're going to be talking about not only things to do in your writing, the emotions and some of those type of tips, and the business end on where to find a home for your work, perhaps making some money at it, perhaps it's a new a type of career for some people. So we're going to be talking about all those things and more. Yes. So fiction, nonfiction, screenwriting, memoir writing, poetry writing, and learning circles. Yes. So talk about learning circles.
Sure. Well, one of the things we've heard from people at previous conferences, they're interested in doing more learning and continuing their learning journey afterwards. So we're going to talk about what a learning circle is, which is a group of peers who come together to take an online class. So maybe 6 to 8 people, and they're going to commit to taking an online writing class for 6 to 8 weeks together. So they're going to go through that class that's free together and provide that peer learning support. Because I know when I've signed up for online classes, I'm really excited. I do the first session, and then my enthusiasm sort of flags and wanes over time. But if you have a group that you're doing it with, then you've got that support and accountability, and we have a chance to also, because writing is something where you get better when you have a chance to do feedback and share with other people. This is a real low risk, free way to dip your toes and really invest even more time in yourself as an artist, as a craftsperson, as a writer.
And get to know others. Yes,
who share that interest.
Help each other through, because you can find things that you agree on that you've both struggled with and those type of things. So it's great. There is so much to talk about with this conference, and our time is short, but I do want to say this is awesome. And if you're a writer or interested in it, make sure to go on up. Our latest Engage program guide is available at all Spokane County Library District libraries. It is free, and we have several pages in here about the conference right in the middle of the magazine. And you can see what all sessions are being offered, who is teaching them, what their expertise is, and it's a bargain. It's a bargain.
And you don't have to come for the whole conference. You can sign up for 1 or 2 sessions, the ones that interest you and are most relevant to where you are in your learning.
Perfect. That's great. Hope to see you there. Thank you, Gwendoyln. For Library Out Loud, I'm Jane Baker.
Here at River Ridge Hardware Garden Center, where we have all the plants and flowers that will spruce up your yard, from the lilacs for Spokane's Lilac City, to awesome hanging baskets and pots that you can actually put the hanging baskets in. Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you set up your landscape needs. Neighbors helping neighbors at River Ridge Hardware.
Next up is Business Talks with our new host, Matt Kaufler. And he's welcoming Tim from Gonzaga University, who is also involved in startups.
Hello, I'm Matt Kaufler, and welcome to Spokane Business Talks. I'm joined today by a local entrepreneur, Tim Krauss. Tim, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Tim, I'm curious, in any business community, there is a natural give and take, some might say a tension between the business community itself and state and local government. What's your assessment of the region, the state, if you will, as to that relationship and where it stands today?
Sure. I think Spokane is very inviting of entrepreneurs. I think they want startups here. And there's a lot of people that are supporting that, volunteering their time, giving back. There's a lot of resources in the area, and there's money here, in Spokane. So I think regionally, Spokane Valley area, even into Coeur d'Alene area, I think there's a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurs. In the state, it's not as welcoming, I don't think, as the minimum wage goes up and things are changing. I just don't see it being as favorable for businesses, which is going to, the costs are going to start rising for the consumer ultimately, which
I
is
agree
always
with
a problem.
that. I think the other part of that is the substitution of capital for labor.
Yeah.
If you're concerned about artificial intelligence and robotics, well, you got to be even more concerned now, because if you're raising the costs of labor, businesses are going to do the rational thing and bring those costs back under control, if not push them further down. Would you agree?
Yeah, they're going to use technology to replace labor.
Yeah.
So they're going to make systems and processes. You're going to see kiosks, you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff that happens, but really it's not as helpful as some people think.
With the time we have remaining, I think one of the really interesting parts of your background, which is pretty varied, is your appearance on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a difficult show to get on, obviously, but a friend of mine, Corey, and I and his wife, Heidi, were able to go to LA and film it for Bear Bowl, which is a local company, bare minimum here in Spokane. Incredible opportunity. These sharks really do want to help. That was one thing I was very impressed with, is Mark Cuban and Mr. Wonderful. They all really do care about the community of entrepreneurs. And, we were able to have a couple sharks fight over us and get a deal. So.
That's great. That's great. Well, Tim, thank you for joining us today. And thank you for joining us today as well. We're going to take a quick break right now. My guest has been Tim Krauss, and we'll be back shortly.
Here at Creative Music Learning Center, we are dedicated to your learning no matter where you are on your journey. Whether you are a beginner, a casual player, or need some brushing up on technique, we are here for you. When you begin lessons with us, our teachers take the time to understand what kind of learner you are and how we can help you further your knowledge, offering a variety of instruments including piano, guitar, voice, violin, and more. We are here and ready to get started with you.
Here at River Ridge Hardware Garden Center, where we have all the plants and flowers that will spruce up your yard, from the lilacs for Spokane's Lilac City to awesome hanging baskets and pots that you can actually put the hanging baskets in. Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you set up your landscape needs. Neighbors helping neighbors at River Ridge Hardware.
At Gonzaga, you teach in the entrepreneurial program there, correct?
Yes.
And you've been doing that for a few years?
Yep, a few years. Yep.
And I'm curious, Tim, when you're teaching students and you're evaluating their business ideas and they're pitching you different concepts and so forth, what are the most common mistakes you see young entrepreneurs making?
Yeah, a few of them would be, number one is most students in startups don't identify the problem well enough. What is the problem I'm trying to solve, right? They're all about the solution because that's their product, but typically they don't tell us the problem, and investors need to hear that. Businesses need to make sure that they're really solving a true problem. Another problem I see, an issue with startups, is that they create something before they ask the customer. Big problem.
Sure.
Because they think they know what the customer wants, but they don't. And so they build this technology out or this product all the way out, they spend a lot of money, and then all of a sudden nobody wants it. And so you need to ask the customer, what do they want? What is the problem? What is the solution? What does that customer want? And then you're going to get the answers that you're looking for.
Yeah. One of the basic concepts, I think, in entrepreneurship is the minimum viable product. And it's a very important concept. Can you tell our audience a little bit about that and why it's so important?
So the MVP, minimum viable product, is the first product that you make. And so what that is it's a prototype. It's basically saying, well, what information can we get from customers for the cheapest, easiest way to do that? So if you need to 3D print something, right, and put it in their hand and say, would you buy this? That's an MVP. It's got to be minimum. What are the minimum requirements for you to sell that product to that consumer? It's got to be viable. Obviously, it's got to be something that you can sell, and it's got to be a packaged product that you can give to someone. So it's got to be really simple. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs over-analyze and they put way too much in their MVP. That's too many functions. We don't need all that.
Right.
What is it that takes to sell this product? Maybe 3 functions, not 12.
Exactly. You're obviously very versed in entrepreneurship and deeply embedded in the local community from that standpoint. You've also, as a part of that, been able to be on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Not as the primary guest, but in a support role, so to speak.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, exactly. So my friend and I, he invented the Bear Bowl, which is his cook pot, and they're a local company from Spokane. I wanted to support him, so from day one I was testing, I was developing, I was helping him with the product. We were able to get to Shark Tank. Easier to get into Harvard than it is to get into Shark Tank. And 40,000 applications, they only pick 30 a year. So it's really difficult. And so I went down to LA and we filmed, and it turned out great. We had a couple sharks fighting over us. But I learned that, you have to be in the right spot. Are you ready to go to Shark Tank?
Yeah.
That's a big question.
Well, great. Tim, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And thank you for joining us as well. I'm Matt Kaufler. We'll see you again next time.
Next up is Real Estate Talk with our host, Ken Sax. And his guest this time is Rob Higgins, who is the Executive Vice President of the Spokane Association of Realtors. And the questions are really surround what is going on in the housing industry.
Hi folks, I am Ken Sax. I am the host of Real Estate Talk. I'm here with my guest, Rob Higgins, the Executive Vice President for the Spokane Association of Realtors. And we are talking about what else but the real estate market, Rob. And let's talk about inventory. You mentioned inventory at just over 1 month's supply. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, what it means when, right now we're looking at our inventory, when we say a 1 month supply, give you an example, we sold 868 houses in August, and we have an inventory of 961 homes. So, wow, you're selling your inventory every month.
Right,
seems.
Assuming no new homes come on the market, just for this definition, then we would sell almost our entire supply in 1 month,
right,
meaning we have 1 month inventory.
Right.
So I'm a consumer. What does that mean to me? I get the real estate talk, but what does it mean to me?
Well, what it means is that we have a lack of supply, and the demand in Spokane is still very strong because Spokane is growing. So the simple equation, lack of supply, increased demand, that means prices are going to go up, and it's going to be harder and harder to find that house that you want. So get out there and aggressively be looking if you're looking for a house, and get in there as soon as you can.
Sure, and for a seller with 1 or 1.1 months inventory and thinking of supply and demand, there's not a lot of supply, and so for a seller, you can be a little more aggressive and a little more rigid on your negotiations and what you're willing to give away, what you're willing to repair, what you're willing to put up with. Because if I end up not working with this buyer, what the inventory stat means is I've got a line of other buyers that are ready to take your place if you don't want to play. And so that's a very key stat, months of inventory, whether it's 1 month all the way up to 8 months, 9 months. Yeah. But at 1 month, that is a deep seller's market. Sellers, you're carrying the hammer.
Yeah, and so when you're talking like that, I'm saying, well, what's your normal or a regular market, if there is such a thing? But in the industry, we say it's 4 to 6 months of inventory. So you can see we're way down. In fact, in my experience, this is probably the lowest inventory we've ever had in Spokane.
Yeah, good. So good talk. We're talking about months of inventory and real estate. Sellers, you're in a great position right now. We will take our break, and we're going to be right back with you. Welcome back. I am Ken Sachs. This is Real Estate Talk, and again, my host, Rob Higgins, with the Spokane Association of Realtors. So we've been talking about inventory and what that means and how this favors sellers right now. But where are we going, Rob? Where do you if we could take our crystal ball out, and we're asked these questions all the time, where would you say we're going with regards to the real estate market?
Well, the real estate market is very strong right now, and we know that because we have an awful lot of demand. And I think in the future, the next year, we're still going to be strong. Our headwind is the inventory, but
yes,
Spokane is poised for prosperity, is what I call it. Job growth is up. Spokane is growing. I think it was 2017, the metropolitan area got over, or Spokane County got over 500,000 people in our community. So I think the next few years are going to be very positive.
Yeah, it sounds that way. And even looking around, you see with our inventory being down, you see builders building. But, if you're a buyer thinking, I'm just going to hang out for a year or 2 years for the shift, I don't know about that because, we've got Amazons and we have a lot of players coming to Spokane that are drawing people from major metropolitan areas, not to mention people kind of getting tired of major metropolitan areas and the congestion and average prices of over $500,000. So they're looking to come to places like Spokane. So that may not really change with regards for demand, which of course then keeps supply low, which keeps prices high. And so buyer, if you're wanting to buy, thinking you want to buy, but you're going to wait.
No, the price is going to go up. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Even though our median sales price in Spokane County is maybe $20,000 lower than the national median, that gap is closing rapidly. And I think we're going to, with our lack of inventory, low supply, we're going to see our prices continue to increase about close to 1% a month.
Sure, and interest rates are favorable. We saw a reduction in interest rates not too long ago. And so don't forget about that because that's really, assuming you're getting a loan, which a lot of buyers get a loan, that's what you're going to be paying every month. And I often hear buyers, well, I'm going to wait for rates to go down.
Yeah. No, they're not going to go down much more if they go down at all. In fact, I think they've ticked up a little bit this last week. Rates, those of us who've been around a long time, we can't believe the rates that are here today. I would recommend take advantage of them.
I agree. Folks, you've been listening to Real Estate Talk. My guest, Rob Higgins, and we will see you next time.
Cindy Hval is a freelance columnist and correspondent for the Spokesman Review and author of War Bonds, Love Stories from the Greatest Generation. The view from her porch is usually sunny.
This week we're filming at my friend Ryan and Robert's home. It's also the setting to Spokane's famous Hobbit House. When our son Zach was 9, he got a sea monkey habitat for a birthday gift. Sea monkeys are tiny brine shrimp, and the habitat came with sea monkey eggs and food. One night, after a long day of wrangling boys and deadlines, I peered into the murky water. With a glass of juice in one hand and the habitat in the other, I held it up to the light. I didn't see any sea monkeys. As I tilted the habitat, the lid popped off, and a big splash of water fell into my juice glass. I cleaned up the mess, drank my juice, and went to bed. In the morning, I found Derek and the boys huddled around the sea monkey habitat. "What's going on?" I asked. "We're looking at my sea monkeys," Zach said. "You mean some finally hatched?" "What do you mean finally?" Derek said. "We've had a family of 8 in here for about a week." I didn't see anything. All I saw were some small specks drifting around the water. It looked like dandruff to me, but apparently that's what baby sea monkeys look like. Zach started to count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 5 and 6 and 7. Hey, where's number 8? Did someone spill some of this water? Derek asked. There was more in here last night. My knees grew weak. My stomach got queasy. The apple juice, the loose lid. Had I swallowed a sea monkey? Scenes from the movie Alien began to play in my mind. Pandemonium ensued when I explained the splash of water that had plopped into my glass. Zach sobbed. "You ate my sea monkey!" It turns out number 8 was his favorite. So I swallowed a sea monkey. At least it wasn't a goldfish. It could happen to anyone. And that's the view from this front porch.
Thanks for watching Spokane Talks on Fox 28. Have a great day, everybody.
Spokane Talks is about you. Give us your feedback and comments at info@SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Spokane Talks is everywhere you are. Find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Spokane Talks is brought to you in part by Rada Paint and River Ridge Hardware. We'll be back next week with the latest news, views, and conversation. Please join us.